Alright, so the round is over. We have to roll Destiny dice. Now this is when the doubles will actually matter, if we roll them. So, let's put these dice back up, waiting for the characters. Alright, let's roll the Destiny dice. So we have double ones, and a 5, 4, and a 2. Alright, so the 5 goes here, the 4 goes here, the 2 goes here, but we have double ones. So not only will the ones not go on the board, but now, because we're not in the Inger's Chamber anymore, it's the second round of the game, pretty much, this will actually start something based on the number. So the double ones are an unexpected event, as you see right here. So what you do is you roll a die twice. The first one is the 10s, second the 1s, basically. So 24. So we got a 24. So we look in the adventure book for number 24, and that is what happens to us. So these could be really bad. Sometimes they're good. Most of them are bad. Let's put it that way. Alright, this one sounds bad after that first couple lines, or words. The champions knew a moment of sinking dismay as one careless footfall broke a glittering strand of light, stretched cunningly across their path. The air thickened like cooling tallow, time running slower and slower as the enchanted trap was sprung. The rune-marked player, who was now, actually, we had an end of the phase turn, so I didn't quite do that correct. This would move on to the next player, and that's going to be the Fire Slayer. At the end of the round, the first player marker moves, and you check to see if any of the chambers have disappeared. If any chamber is 3 away from the current chamber, it disappears off the game. It gets taken away and this disappears into the crazy world of this tower. So the rune-marked player rolls 4 dice. For each result of 1 or 2, their hero is stunned. Then they pass each die that scored a 3 or more to the player on their left, who repeats the roll with those dice. Carry on until no dice are passed, or each player has rolled the dice once. Interesting. Okay, so 4 dice. The game comes with one set of white dice that can be used for this kind of stuff, just like communal dice. So every 1 or 2, the hero gets a stun. 3 or more gets passed over, but that doesn't cause a stun. So let's see what our guy gets. He gets a 2, and 3 others that are higher. So he gets 1 stun from this trap. Now the dice, so the 2 goes away, and the other 3 move on to the War Priest here. He gets a 2 and 2 4s, so he gets 1 stun. And then passes it on to the Mistweaver, who gets a 1 and a 3. So this is kind of just going straight up here. She gets a stun, and move on to the Knight Questor, who rolls a 6. So he does not get a stun, and now every character rolled, so the trap stops. So because of these stuns, everybody but the Knight Questor is only going to be able to roll 3 dice for their turn, because 1 is taken up by a stun. At the end of that character's turn, so once the Fire Slayer is done, the stun goes away. So it's only for 1 turn, but it affects them, it takes 1 less die this turn. Alright, so that's not the worst, it's not the worst event I've seen, that's for sure. Okay, so it is the Fire Slayer Doom Seeker's turn, and as I said, he only gets 3 dice. So he gets a 6 and 2 2s, and we also have decent community dice, or destiny dice, to work with. So he's in front, so he's going to use his 2 to explore. So we get the Librarian. Alright. So let's find that tile. Alright, so here's the Librarian tile. You can see here. So these cards have these red boxes, or squares around certain ones. These are obstacles. You can't move or have line of sight through these for ranged attacks. Now on the actual board, it'll be a little hard to see. It's kind of hard to see on the board anyway. Kind of make it out there. Most of these tiles or squares are white, but the black ones are the obstacles. So it's a little hard to see on the board anyway, but these cards will help you because, sorry about that, these cards will help you because of the red. Wow, that was really bad, sorry. The red squares on them kind of give you a reference that those are there. So here's the Librarian. So let's see what it says. Read passage 76. Alright, let's do it. 76. Just in case you're wondering, there's 90 passages in this book. So there's a lot of stuff to go through and read. Alright. As the great golden portal swung wide, beyond was revealed a library that seemed stolen from some madman's dreaming. No ordained repository of lore was this, but a scattering of crumbled scrolls and forbidden tomes that ran riot in impossible profusion. At the champion's exclamations, the air grew thick, and there billowed a smoke within which a myriad colors shone bright. From that fume stepped the demonic librarian of that strange chamber, one digit laid upon his rubbery lips in a mocking appeal for silence. Set up a pink horror as close to the center of the chamber as possible. This is the Librarian, another pink horror. He follows all the rules for pink horrors and has some additional rules on the exploration card. Alright, so all we've seen are horrors so far. So he goes on to the middle square. And if we read the exploration card, there's some extra stuff going on here. The Librarian is a pink horror with a vigor of 8 rather than 4. He has twice the health. He acts at the same time as any other pink horrors. You do not need to make a separate roll on the behavior table. Add 1 to the damage value of each of his weapons. Okay. When the Librarian is slain, he is not replaced with any blue horrors. Instead, read passage 59. Interesting. Okay. So he doesn't break it apart into other types of enemies. He's basically a boss, but he's one of the 3 random cards that are next after that first one, and we got him early here. So, we got him in the first of the 3 cards. Okay. So the Doomseeker's got a 2 and a 6 left. So this guy's 8 health. So he's just going to go at him, right? So he's going to use his 2 to move 3 squares. And he is going to 1, 2, 3. He's going to come around to the side here to get a little closer to him, or leave some room in the front for people to come in. And he's going to use a 6 to use his Doomseeker axe. So this is a 3 or more to hit, and you roll a d3 for damage. So 3 or more hits, and he rolls a 1, so he misses. That's not good. Alright, so we do have some Destiny dice. We have a 5 there. So I think he's going to use that 5 to try that Doomseeker axe again. So we take the 5, so the 4 gets locked. It leaves a 2. Alright, so let's see what he can do. 3 or more hits. A 2! Oh my gosh. He is not able to hit this guy. He's just dodging out of the way. He's pissed off, so he's going to use the 2, because he's mad. To use his Runic War Axe, you need a 1 or more. There's a 2 in there. 2 or more hits for just 1 damage. And he rolls a 1! Oh my god, he rolls a 1. So he whiffed on every attack. The Doomslayer Seeker is not a happy dwarf. So his turn is done. So the 4 goes back, unlocks, and it is now our buddy, the War Priest's turn. So let's see what he can do. He only gets 3 dice because of the stun. A little better. He gets a 6, a 5, and a 1. So if you use that 6 for his Light of Sigmar, it's an area attack that does 1 damage. So it's good when there's a lot of enemies, especially weaker ones. Won't do much to this guy, but every little bit helps, right? So first he's going to use his 1, I think, to move into the room. He moves 3, so he's just going to kind of come over here in the corner. So 1, yeah, he's just going to come here. And then I think he's going to use his 5 for his Gryph-hound. And he's going to choose to have the Gryph-hound hunt. So he can move 5 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he went diagonal here. This is the square that has the obstruction. So he was able to go diagonal here. And he's going to attack. So that's 2 dice. Every 4 or more is a hit. That is a 3 and a 1. Both misses. Wow. This is the worst round you can pretty much ever have. So the War Priest, he's just going to use his Light of Sigmar anyway, because it's a 2 or more to hit, which I should be able to do for 1 damage. Alright, he gets a 3. So he hits 1 damage on the Librarian, who has 7 vigor left after that. Now we're moving on to the Mistweaver, who also has only 3 dice. It still has a 4 in Destiny. So we got a 4, a 3, and a 2. Okay. So line of sight in this game, you can shoot through the doors. The only thing that blocks line of sight are obstacles. You start from the middle of your square to the middle of the enemy square. If it goes through an obstacle, you can't, it won't reach. Or the walls. So I don't know if actually he can make this shot without going, let's see, if you can make this shot without going through. From the middle to the middle. Yeah, I think he can. Actually, he can, yeah. He can make that shot. So let's put these guys back. And you can shoot through, models. Models don't block line of sight. Just obstacles and walls. Because he has his range attack, which is pretty nice. So he's going to use his 3 to do his Illusionary Assault. 3 or more hits for D3 damage. So we need a 3 or more. And we rolled a 2. Unbelievable. Okay. Well, he's going to use his 4 or more. His 4 to do it. 3 or more hits. 6. There we go. Oh, and that is awesome. Because if the attack roll for an Illusionary Assault, which is what we did, Illusionary Assault is a 6, gain a Renown. He just rolled a 6 on it. So he gets a Renown for that. That's how he gets his bonus Renown. Every character has one way to get a bonus, to get Renown besides killing enemies, and that's how he does his. So now we roll to see D3 of damage, and that's a 3, so that's 2 damage. Not too bad. So he's down 3 hits, down to 4 health. No, down to 5 health. He has 8. So he still has a 2 left, which he's not really going to do much with. I think he's going to take the 4 from the Destiny and try his Illusory Assault again. 3 or more hits. He rolled a 4. Alright, so D3 damage is a 5. Nice, so that's 3 damage. Beautiful. So he's down to 6 damage out of 8. And he has a 2 left, so I think he's just going to move into the room. Kind of stay away. He's going to stay behind this pillar for so that he can't shoot at him if he gets the chance to. So he's just going to kind of hop in the room there. Alright. And now it is the Night Questor's turn. And he's the only one who didn't get stunned. And that reminds me, after all these guys' turns, the stuns go away. So none of these guys are stunned anymore. But the Night Questor didn't have a stun, so he gets to roll all 4 dice. 2 5s, a 3, and a 2. Not bad. There's no Destiny dice left for him, so he's got to work. That's all he's got to work with here. So we're going to use the 2 to move up. 3. He's going to charge up into the Librarian. And he can't use his Thunder's Charge Strike because he needs a 6. So what he's going to do is just hit him with his Warblade. So 3 or more for the Warblade. That's a 4, so that's 2 damage. So that is it, actually. That puts him at 8. He had 6 damage. So that one Warblade attack takes out the Librarian. Pretty easy going so far for us. We've only had these pink horrors to worry about. Even this guy with more damage, more health, was easy to take out. And because he's the Librarian, he doesn't split into the blues. He's worth a Renown for our Night Questor, who goes up to 2. And we read passage 59. to see what happens. Instead of splitting them, we go to 59. So let's see. There came a sound of wet and monstrous ripping as the librarian tore bodily in two. Where once stood a great pink-fleshed being, now two smaller blue simacria? That's terrible, sorry. Took its place, grumbling in great indignation. So he did split in two. But, for all their bluster, these beings feared the champions, and told them a precious secret, an ancient incantation that would still the blinding light of sorcery for a time. Even as the champions puzzled over this sliver of lore, the demons vanished, returning to the shimmer and smoke whence they came. The rune-marked player, who's the dwarf, takes the exploration card titled the Librarian until the end of the trial. Its purpose will become apparent later, should you survive that long. Alright, so he did split into two, but they ran, told a secret, which we now have an idea about. So the Fire Slayer Doomseeker keeps the Librarian card, which could come into use later on. Interesting, eh? Alright, so that's pretty cool. I think we're going to end it there. Actually, let's rest. We'll take a respite. This is not the second in a row, because we had one and then we had a fight. So now we're going for our second. Which means we can place our guys where we want them. So the next first player will be the War Priest. So we'll place him in the front here, so we can open the way. The Mistweaver will stay back a little bit, because that's what she does. Then we'll put the Night Questor up here, and then we'll put the Dwarf here, and we'll keep. The Hound is going to go next to the War Priest, so we'll put the Mistweaver back a little farther even. But she's good at range attack, so that's fine with her. That's fine with her. So now we don't need to heal. So what we're going to do is roll for treasure. So we'll start with the rune-marked player, who is the dwarf. He rolls a 6, so he gets a treasure card. Look at that. Okay. Unseen Amulet. When breathed upon, this silver disc vanishes from sight, as does its wearer, for a time. You can discard this card at the start of the adversary's phase. Adversaries ignore your hero during the phase. They are not pinned by you. They can move through you, and they cannot target you when they attack unless they are using an aerial weapon. Interesting. Alright, so that's what the dwarf gets. So now we'll roll for the War Priest. 4 more. He gets a 1. Mistweaver, 4. So the Mistweaver gets a treasure. And that is the Ring of Celerity. A crystalline band of beautiful harmonic attunement. This ring enhances its wearer's skills. Add 1 to your hero's move while you have this card. You can discard this card at any point during your turn to roll up to 2 hero dice that you have already used that turn. That's pretty cool. And return them to your hero card. Nice. So until we do that, we get 1 to our move, and then we can get some hero dice back. Very cool. And the Night Questor is the last one to roll for treasure. He gets a 6, so he gets 1 as well. Nice. Miser's Chalice. The battered tin cup with strange sigils carved into its base. This item channels the tides of fate. Use this card during your turn to unlock any locked destiny dice, returning them to the blue spaces on the fate board. Interesting. Roll the dice after using it. On a 1 or 2, pass it to the player on your left. On a 3 or 4, discard it. On a 5 or 6, pass it to the player on your right. So you can use locked destiny dice, any locked destiny dice, returning them to the blue spaces on the fate board. And then after you use them, you roll it, and there's a chance that on a 3 or 4 they'll get discarded. But if it's a 1 or a 2 or a 5 or a 6, they go to another player for that round. So that's a pretty nice card. That can give you a lot of extra actions, possibly. Alright, so that is the end of the round. Officially. No, we have yet to have an adversary phase, because we've had pink horrors that we've taken out easily. So the first player marker, the rune, moves on to the War Priest. We check to see if there's any rooms from the current room more than 2 away. So 3 away. This basically says the room adjacent, the next room, and the room connected to that are okay. Anything past that get taken away. So right now there's only 2 back, so we're good. And that is the end of the round. So we'll do Destiny Dice when we start next time. And move on into this dungeon and see what's going on. I'll probably turn it a little bit so we can kind of keep it to the front here. But that's about it. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.